Do you find your child is struggling to understand a new concept? Or do you think he or she isn't paying attention in class? Or is something wrong with your child? Before you think of any such labels, please stop. It's just possible that your child is not learning in the style he or she learns best. For example, take the times table. Your child is just not able to get them, can't remember, is struggling, but just can't get it. Solution can be to identify your child's learning style, and then he might learn seamlessly in his own preferred learning style. For example, your child can learn the table song or use manipulatives to understand tables. Then your child will get them easily, or your child could use drawing to understand tables. There are so many ways to learn tables, and that is exactly what we are going to learn in today's video, VARK Learning Style Model. Welcome to my channel Ask Neena Teacher, and I give a big shout out to my viewer named Golden Ink Heart who had commented VARK in the comment section. Thank you Golden Ink Heart for responding. In my video on how to deal with exam stress and anxiety, I had briefly mentioned VARK. Here is more on it. Learning styles are a popular concept in psychology and education. They are intended to identify how people learn best. The VARK learning style model identifies a student's sensory modality preference in learning. This model classifies students into 4 different learning modes: visual, oral, read and write, and kinesthetic. The idea is that students learn best when teaching methods and school activities match their learning styles. According to the VARK model, learners are identified by their preference for learning. Visual learning is pictures, movies, diagrams. Auditory learning, music, discussion, lectures. Reading and writing will be making lists, reading textbooks, taking notes. Kinesthetic learning will be movement, experiments, hands-on activities. Let me give you an example. Imagine your child is learning how to perform a new physical skill, such as riding a bike or dancing a certain style of dance. In which way would your child learn this skill the best? One would be look at pictures of people performing the skill. That would be visual. Second would be listen to an expert explain how to do the task. That will be auditory. Third will be read about how this is to be performed in a book, which is reading and writing. And fourth would be what someone else performed and then try it yourself, which would be kinesthetic. So the answer will identify your child's learning style. Let's know more about each of these styles. Visual learners. They learn best by seeing. Graphic displays such as charts, diagrams, illustrations, handouts and videos are all helpful learning tools for visual learners. Students who prefer this type of learning would rather see information presented in a visual rather than in written form. Do you think a child might be a visual learner? Consider the following questions and you will know. Are art, beauty and aesthetics important to your child? Does visualizing information in their mind help them to remember it better? Do they have to see information in order to remember it? If you can answer yes to most of these questions, chances are good that your child has a visual learning style. You may find it helpful to incorporate things like pictures, graphs when your child is revising information. The visual preference includes depiction of information in maps, diagrams, charts, graphs, flow charts, and all symbolic arrows, circles that we use to represent what could have been represented in words. But it does not include still pictures or photographs of movies, videos, or PowerPoint. When a whiteboard is used to draw a diagram with meaningful symbols for the relationship between different things, that will be helpful for those with a visual preference. Now about oral learners. They learn best by hearing information. They tend to get a great deal out of lectures and are good at remembering things they are told. Is your child an auditory learner? Let's consider the following questions. Does your child like to create songs to help remember information? Does reading out loud help your child to remember information better? Does your child prefer to listen to teacher rather than reading from the textbook? The oral mode describes a preference for information that is heard or spoken. Learners who have this as their main preference learn best from lectures, group discussions, podcasts, speaking, and talking things through. The oral preference includes talking out loud as well as talking to oneself. Often people with this preference want to sort out things by speaking first rather than sorting out their ideas and then speaking. They may say again what has already been said or ask an obvious and previously answered question. They have a need to say it themselves and they learn by saying it. That's their way. Now let's learn about reading and writing learners. They prefer to take in information that is displayed as words and text. Could your child be a reading and writing learner? Let's find out. Ask these questions and you will know soon. Does your child enjoy making lists or reading definitions and creating presentations? Does your child find reading your textbook to be a great way to learn new information? Does your child make a lot of notes while reading textbooks? If you have answered yes to these questions, it is likely that your child has a strong preference for reading and writing style of learning. He or she might find it helpful to write down information in order to learn and remember it. Now we talk about kinesthetic learners. They learn best by touching and doing. Hands-on experience is most important for them. Not sure if your child is a kinesthetic learner? Answer these questions to find out. Is your child good at applied activities? For example, painting, cooking, sport, woodwork. Does your child enjoy performing tasks that involve directly manipulating objects and materials? Does your child have to actually practice doing something in order to learn it? Is it difficult for your child to sit still for long periods of time? If you have responded yes to these questions, then your child is most likely a kinesthetic learner. If you know that visual learning appeals the most, use visual study strategies in conjunction with other learning methods. That will help your child to remember and enjoy his studies more. If no single learning preference calls out to your child, or your child changes preferences based on the situation or the type of information they are learning, you probably have what is known as a multimodal style. For example, you might rely on your reading and writing preferences when you are dealing with a class that requires a great deal of book reading and note taking, such as history. During a ceramic class, you might depend more on their kinesthetic preferences. Once you begin to identify your child's learning style, your child will no longer struggle in learning or remembering. So try this out and let me know how it worked for your child. That's all, folks. Signing off and see you in my next video. Bye-bye.